Okay, don't mind the crazy garage shop thing. I'm building a little mini CFmoto. Getting there, waiting on the wheel set. Should be pretty sick. But I figured I would do the little kind of sort of how-to on installing and adjusting the Aftermarket CFmoto throttle assembly. So with this, obviously I have the original one off. It's really straightforward to get it off. There's, I believe, two like Phillips screws, and it separates top and bottom. And then you just undo your cable. On each cable, there are little adjusters. Adjuster 1, adjuster 2. If you've done any adjustments or if you've never even looked at this, just pay attention to where it's at, number 1. And number 2, you may need to tighten everything up to be able to get it off of your adjuster. So for this part, I'm just going to go ahead and undo this stuff since I already have it on here, so you can kind of see how it goes together. Oh yeah, I'm wearing my flip-flops because some rando gave me a bunch of shit for my flip-flops, so there they go. They're on here just for you guys. But the beauty of this bike is everything is freaking Allen keys, and they're all metric. So that's super sweet. My bar ends are 5 mil, so stick a little 5 mil in here. God, doing everything with one hand is going to be so much fun. Ugh. Pull your little bar end out. If you have these, they're super cool. They're not going to do much of anything except take up this cool gap. But yeah, and then throw that on the floor somewhere. Right there looks good. And then I'm not taking my bar off, or my domino grip. But this has 2 Allens and it clamps this bitch together. So you'll take both your Allens off, which I believe are 4 mil. Are you 4 mil? A little sloppy, but I think it'll do. They're definitely not 4 mil. What is this? USA. What size is this? 4. These might be freaking standard. So just make sure your Allen fits right. Don't go stripping these out. That'd be bad news bears. I can't remember 100%, but I think when I undo this other one, it's gonna want to break, or it's gonna want to fall off. That'd be cool. Another thing to note when you're doing this, if you're doing this, is, so on my bike, I have aftermarket, or I have actual clip-ons that go below the triple. Your bike, if you have stock bars, your bars are probably like way up higher than mine. So your adjustment, like your indexing of this silver piece is going to be different. Mine is indexed this way partially because I'm an idiot, and other partially because I liked how it lined up. Like my brakes are always adjusted super. I am kind of fanatical about my brakes, so there's never a situation where you should need to squeeze your fucking brake lever all the way here. If you do, you're going over the bars or something bad is happening. So that's my school of thought with how I have this. Realistically, you should have it probably facing up or facing down. I can't face it down because my bars are so low, it scratches my plastics. Like I already scratched them because I was a moron. Okay. So back to this while you're doing this, I believe this front piece is gonna wanna fall off. So I'm gonna undo the screw and we'll be right back. Okay, hooray. So when your thing is separated, you're gonna have the silver bar, right? Because your grip's not gonna be on it. And then you're gonna have, let me pull this sucker off. Okay, so we're back. So this is what your little thingy's gonna look like if you order that one I have in the description. So it's universal, right? It's got 2 holes on the bottom, 2 holes on the top. It's gonna go on like so. Flat spot is gonna face where your cables come in. So, number 1 with the cables. So what I did is I threaded them in. You can thread them in individually. So the way you do it without taking off the cable on the other side is you undo each one of these. So each cable has the little adjuster here. Focus, focus. Of course, the freaking Arizona sun. But you back these all the way off and it splits the elbow from this. So the cable is exposed. And then you can literally just spin this. Just spin it clockwise. You're not going to hurt the cable. You just spin it and it freaking does it. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so if you see, I have it split. And what you can do is you can just spin this elbow. You're not going to hurt the cable. You just spin it whatever way you want it to go. Of course, let me get... It's like impossible to do with one hand. But you take both hands and you just spin. Ugh. Yeah, it's impossible with one hand. But you see what I'm saying, right? You can spin this piece into this piece by separating this. But once you do that, what you want to do is get them both kind of equidistant. Same distance top and bottom is what I did and what works for me. These are newer cables. They are OEM, so it should work for you. But I have them about equidistant here. And then you just thread your nut back on. Leave it kind of loosey-goosey. Don't get it super tight. Do it on both sides. And then don't forget your cable. One very important thing to note when you're doing this, make sure you have these adjusters, both of them, bottomed all the way out. So you want this piece butted up as far as it'll go. So this little nut threads this way. You want to thread this thing all the way this way, because what that does is it gives you the maximum amount of slack on the cable end. Okay, so the top one is the one for your throttle. So like when you twist the throttle, it pulls that cable and pulls the throttle body at the bottom. This is your return. So this just kind of returns this back to its original point. So you're gonna want your throttle up top and your return on the bottom. And then the other beautiful thing about this particular setup is there's no like, you don't have to drill a hole into this. It just clamps on super nicely, super tight. So what you do next is the fun part, which really isn't super fun, and I'll show you why. So on your handle, remember how you have 4 holes? You have 2 up top, 2 on the bottom. Goes like this. Well, if you noticed when you took your cable off, or when you took the other one off, it had pretty similar setup. You have to have this on the bar. Don't try and put these cables on outside the bar, because you won't be able to pull this thing back on, if that makes sense. Okay, so going back to here, we are in the second hole and the first hole. So you're gonna want to get your throttle, your pull one, in first, and then you'll have to twist your bottom to get the bottom cable in. And then once you have those cables in, you just kind of butt it up against here and put your thing on, and you're done. One thing I'm going to show you before I put this back on is kind of how I jerry-rigged this to still work with this. So you take this off with, I believe it's just one Phillips screw on the bottom. So we'll grab this freaking little Phillips and we'll scratch up my shit. And I'm not gonna use that because that's gonna destroy my plastics. So I'm gonna use, this thing's sick. This is like 10 bucks, 20 bucks maybe on Amazon. But it's got, again, all of these little socket attachments. And it came with the little garbage ratchet that works for what we're doing here. Okay, so you have one Phillips screw holding this on. This Phillips screw's on the bottom. Now, if you're doing this aftermarket throttle assembly, I don't have it anymore because I threw it away, but the throttle, the plastic throttle housing that you're replacing has a piece that kind of wraps around the bottom and this screw goes through it. My bars are aftermarket, but yours will have a screw going through the bar and holding the bottom part of this plastic piece on. This plastic piece is what you need to cut off. You need to cut that off of the other housing and then re-screw in this bolt. So if you look, I have it cut like, I wish I still fucking had it, but I don't. But on the throttle assembly, the one you're replacing, there's a freaking, like a lip, like a flat spot right here. That's where you cut it. Just take a little handsaw, plastic, it took 2 seconds. And then put it back on here and thread this bolt in. The reason you need to do that is because this stupid fucking thing, this stupid plastic, this thing sucks too, but it will twist on your bar if you don't cut this off your old throttle. And that would piss me off to no fucking end, because I use this switch to shut the bike off and obviously to turn it on. So when you're doing this, make sure you do this mod. Don't just throw away this black plastic piece, because if you do, it's gonna spin. You're gonna hate it. Okay? So super funny story. While I was doing all this for you guys, I lost a little screw that holds this on. So I have fucking zip ties for now. But something to note also, like once you get this all put together, you want to make sure that, that you're using your ears and you're hearing your throttle plate hit the stop. So there's a stop. It's gonna be impossible for me to show you with this camera, but up in here, right, you'll look in your bike, same deal, right, down here and up over here, there's a throttle assembly. So you'll see one of your cables come over here, and when you rotate it, you hear that? You want to hear it hit that, and you want to see it hit that. So you're going to want to get your light up in there, and you're going to want to rotate this until it stops. And you're going to want to physically see that thing hit that metal stop. If you don't, that means this is not adjusted properly, and it means you're not getting wide open throttle. That was one big thing too when I replaced my cables because I thought they were bad. This thing was like way out to lunch. And mind you, this bike was like a year old when I did it. It didn't have very many miles on it. So it wasn't adjusted properly from the day I got it. So make sure you hear it hit the throttle stop. You also want to obviously feel this thing snap back. A couple things since you're doing this. It's going to change where your throttle starts and stops. The old one was really sloppy. It kind of went almost, I want to say, a full half revolution, something like that. But it started way up here. So you started pulling and it was pulling from here and it kind of stopped here, something like that. Where I have this adjusted, it's real weird. It starts here and it ends like here. So that's wide open. So wide open, wide open. So look where the domino is. That's wide open. So that is something that is your preference that you will need to mess with, and you change that kind of by orienting this. Make sure that your brakes still work. Make sure you don't have this thing adjusted weird to where it's stopping your brake lever from working. That would not be good. So spend extra time. Get this right because it's very important, right? But once you get this thing on and you confirm that that's hitting the throttle stop, just tighten all this shit back up, all of it up. Tighten the little jam nut against that on the top. Same thing on the bottom. Now with these, if you're gonna run it the same way I am, make sure they're a little bit spread out before you tighten that nut. Otherwise, you'll have to orient those how you want. If you got them facing down and you got the room, even better. I wish I could do it. I'm jealous. But if I could have that thing facing down, I'd be happy. But yeah, these are adjustments. So when you move these out, it takes up slack in here. So if you find that you have a bunch of play, it could be that you have one of these kind of out to lunch and not equidistant. Something here, 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 or here is wrong. If you have one of these way adjusted out and this one adjusted way in, you probably won't be able to even get this bitch on, okay? So just make sure you take your time. You'll probably end up doing it 4 times before you find where you're happy with it, but it will be worth it. This little friction adjuster thingamajigger, I haven't touched it. I don't need to touch it. If it ain't broke, I'm not fucking with it. So with that, I'm gonna have to find a little screw because I'm rocking zip ties now. But yeah, good luck.